So, for this month's roundup, um, I swore I wouldn't put personal stuff in too much personal stuff in these. So, I'm just gonna say this. There are three major reasons for what I'm about to do. I'm going to be recording OP2 less. Uh, if I do, the original plan was to record Narnia Solyanka OP2, Cumulative Pack 2, for 2.2 specifically. The original plan was that I was trying to develop over this month was to do it on Mondays, Wednesdays, and maybe Thursdays. A single session, a single batch of footage, anywhere from several to a dozen to maybe about 20 gigs in size total. Render it that evening, upload it that night or the next morning. Do it 2, maybe 3 days a week. I have been playing it like crazy and getting too many points that I want to record. Important side plots, important main story stuff. For well, not main story, but yeah. Um, to the point I've been making written lists for tasks and checklists and all that, and to just take a look at when I'm to really take a look at when I'm playing the game, and I feel like I've been a little bit too into it. I would like to play it a bit less and focus on other stuff I want to do as well a bit more. Maybe a much shorter game that I want to record and upload. Maybe get back to Hypnospace Outlaw, getting around to that. Like I said, I would. I would like to clear more of my backlog. I've been playing Kingsfield, and then I just benched that because I got so obsessed with this. That is the first reason. Um, the second reason is I just can't afford the internal hard drive space. Too many batch footage. I encountered this problem with Runamod Rabbit Hole, where I had so many batches of footage. I started putting on my external hard drive for my alt media collection, which is what I call my content creator collection for offline storage. Um, and that started filling it up, and I finally rendered all the videos, deleted all the raw footage, and uploaded them all to YouTube very haphazardly because I got tired of trying to put timestamps on. And again, I said this before, but that was during a really, really low point, really dark time in my life where I was doing that as a form of escapism to just not think about the circumstances I was in, which were completely out of my control. Um, the hard drive space. Like I got about 10 batches of footage I still got to render. I'm low on hard drive space on the main drive, on the internal media drive, because I still got videos. I got like 5 rendered videos to upload. About 10 batches of footage still to render. I'm probably fortunately, I have hit a stopping point where my main choice is to do a couple more side quest things, and otherwise just fuck around and do whatever or do chain tasks until I finally feel like going to the actual finale of the Shadow of Chernobyl storyline. After which, like 90% of the game opens. That's right. This has been almost as long as my Runa Mod Rabbit Hole, the entirety of my Runa Mod Rabbit Hole stuff so far, and I still have not done like 90% of what this mod contains, and that's fucking crazy. Anyway, so yeah, the hard drive space is the second reason. The third reason is I just, again, I said I wouldn't put personal stuff, so I'm going to keep this a bit more vague. But life has just felt chaotic lately, and I tend to get lots of interruptions. And there was a fourth reason I almost forgot. I tend to get a lot of interruptions, Half the time you see me pausing is the fourth thing I'm about to say. The other half is the actual interruptions. Well, unless I'm cutting footage to just so I'm not just recording 40 minutes of me walking around in the game from point A to point B to point C to point D. Whenever I pause in OP2, whenever I pause the game and stop recording and resume and unpause, half the time it's the fourth thing I'm about to say. The other half is I'm just constantly called away. I have a bit of a busy life. I do not live entirely on my own time. And on my own time schedule, so I very frequently have to leave. The fourth thing that I almost forgot to mention is if you actually look at my channel and you notice any weird discrepancies, any there looks like there's a part of that OP2 playthrough missing. Those are batches of footage that crashed the rendering program, crashed my video editing program, and I couldn't get it to work. I almost gave up entirely on recording OP2, thinking that this would be a persistent problem, but I think I've nailed it down. What I think it is if I let the recording go for too long, and a single video file in that batch of footage ends up being upwards to like several gigs in size or more, just for that single video file, I think that's what's crashing, that what's not loading properly and crashing the program. I could be wrong. So I've had to scrap some batches of footage because I ain't redoing all that shit. I ain't loading saves from way back and redoing that shit. Just for the video. I think I've already said this, but these videos are already getting too much as it is. Unlike with stuff like Runamod Rabbit Hole and a couple of my other personal projects and a lot of my old shit that I did preserve on my alt media drive under a completely separate directory that I just call my stuff. Unlike that shit, I have flat out chosen to not preserve these videos. If, say, my YouTube gets deleted for any reason, all those OP2 videos are gone. I'm putting them out there just to put my experience playing the game out there. Just because I want to. Usually I harp on about data hoarding and data preservation, but in this case, there are way better videos for this game than especially by Russian players than what I do. It has a very, very dedicated niche fan base that I am just one part of, and probably not even one of the better parts of. So I don't really care about preserving these. I upload them to be viewable, and what happens happens. So I gotta. So that other half the time I'm pausing and stopping and resuming recording, and unpausing. When it's not, when it's not interruptions, when it's not me cutting time out of the recording. That's just me walking from point A to point B. That's just me trying to make sure I don't end up with a video file that's gonna ruin the bat. It shouldn't fuck up loading this shit in the video editor. So yeah. Other than that, I have been slacking. I have been slacking on a few different things in my personal time, including my data hoarding of content creators I like because of OP2, because I've just gotten way too into it. One thing I will say, the recording's going to slow down. Did I already say this part? Or did I say it in the practice round that I did for about 5 minutes? Fuck, I can't remember. I think I said like the 90% of the game being locked behind finishing the vanilla SOC storyline, and I'm at the point where A lot of what I'm going to be doing is a couple last side quests, which I'm not going to record, and a bunch of planning I'm doing for chain task stuff that I do want to complete before I do the finale of SSC. I will absolutely be recording the entirety of that, but of the finale. But I'm not going to be recording a lot of this anything going forward from now to then, because it's just going to be me doing a lot of extra shit that doesn't really matter to the OP2 itself. Anyway, but there's been another thing regarding the data hoarding, and this is how we're going to segue into this month's Roundup Rant, which is actually going to cover a few different things. I've stated before. Actually, let me just separate the footage. Now, I've stated before. Actually, no. I want to open this up a certain way. I have a quote that I like, and I would like to share with anyone listening or watching. This quote applies to you if you are a video essayist, if you are a content creator who covers drama or politics, if you are a content creator that just covers news stuff. I've said this before, but over the last maybe half a year or so, my two favorite content creators for covering happenings and drama in the VTuber and wider streaming spheres have become Rima Evanstar and Muji. This applies to them as well. This applies to you. This quote, I feel, applies to you if you are any kind of that in what you do for content creation. And that quote is, report the show, don't become the show. This last month has been fucking weird and chaotic. Now, I've said this before, I'm pretty sure I've said this before as well, but I live effectively under a rock. I often do full media blackout on a lot of stuff that I don't want to get spoiled on. In for example, if I want to experience it as if it's truly for the first time ever, without learning anything through osmosis of any kind. But also, I just flat out have never been interested in politics, news. I find the news to be very, even as a child, I would just be like, the news is boring and depressing, Grandma. Why do you watch it all the time? Actually, she did. My grandma watched soap operas, which I think is a much better use of your time than watching the fucking news. But she would watch the news, and I'd be like, "Why do you watch the news? It's depressing. It's boring. I would rather watch Digimon." Anyway, I keep myself under this rock. I firmly live by a philosophy, another little quote of mine. Well, not a quote, really. It's a philosophy of mine. It's, I leave other people alone, they leave me alone. This has unfortunately caused me to great amounts of grief when it turns out there are plenty of people that don't want to leave you alone, even if you try to just keep to yourself. But that's life. So a lot of what I learned is through osmosis, in a way. For example, it was Muji and Rima Evanstar. And then I got into Alicia X Step, aka Alicia X Life, because I loved her anime and her anime reactions, her TV show reactions. And I do want to mention this as well before we really get into this. Even before I even knew Alicia even existed, God, I fucking hated reaction streamers and YouTubers of all kinds. And it was because of my dad. I'm sorry, I just want to go on this little tangent. My dad, I still harbor this hatred, by the way. If you are this kind of reaction streamer, I say this on a very deep and personal level, go fuck yourself. Get a better attention span. My dad would be, I would be anywhere in the vicinity of my parents' bedroom in the house. And my dad, and this is as recent as like the last few years thing. My dad would notice me and call me, "Hey, come here, I want to show you something." And he would have me sit down on the bed. And my dad, he was very old fashioned. He even something as simple as streaming stuff to your TV through a Fire Stick felt like new and novel technology to him that made his life way easier. So he would often, when he wasn't watching stuff off of Netflix, he would watch stuff off of YouTube and on the TV. And he would call me. He would sit me down on the bed, and he'd be like, "I want you to watch this. This is really cool." And he'd show me music reaction streamers. And every single fucking time, it would be one or two people just sitting in a chair watching a music video. The music video would be like 3 minutes and change, 5 minutes and change. And they're pausing like every 5 seconds to go on this 2-minute diatribe of the symbolism and the meaning behind this one like few second long shot in the music video. And they turn a music video it's like 3 minutes and change into 20 minutes, and I'm sitting there wanting to scream at my fucking TV, "Get on with it! Unpause, watch the thing, tell your opinions after." Holy shit, even if you gotta go back to explain shit afterwards, like in specific moments in the video, fine, that's great, you can do it that way. Stop pausing every 5 fucking seconds. I hated this. And it got to the point where I straight up to my dad, "Look, I don't want you to show me any more of these. I know you love these, I know you love watching these, I fucking get it. I cannot stand this, and I want to punch every single one of these people in the fucking face." They have like zero attention span. They don't actually. They sit there and they try to like fucking hyper analyze this 3-minute and change music video over the course of 20 minutes without actually letting the video finish first. Just fucking listen to it and watch it. It's music. The only time I think I've actually ever enjoyed watching a music reactor, and this is a more recent thing I've kind of fallen into, is thanks to a friend of mine who's introduced me to them, is there are people who are professional musicians that will do music reaction videos to say they're like professional musicians. They have an actual career in music, or they have studied and practiced music for a long time and they know what they're talking about, and they'll do reactions to like music videos or video game OSTs. I mean, shit, there was one I actually saw recently where this one VTuber that actually like either she is an actual practicing musician or she has studied music a lot, she did like a 47-minute video where she went through like I think about a dozen different MIDI tracks. The one behind Project Moon's music, a lot of Project Moon's music stuff. She listened to a lot of MIDI tracks and gave her opinions on them. She didn't pause constantly through the fucking thing, if I remember right. She didn't pause constantly through the thing. She didn't go on long diatribes. And when she did give her opinion, like in the middle of it, it was a very brief one. It was also a very educated one where she was actually talking about the music itself, not trying to hyperanalyze the symbolism of anything. So, I like when that kind of shit happens. I like when actual music experts do reaction videos to music and they want to talk about the music. And they don't turn it into something much longer than it is. In fact, I recently, setting aside the music thing completely, I also recently encountered another reactor that I really love. Smug-Alana. And the reason I really love Smug-Alana is because if you watch a Smug-Alana video, you may as well be watching the actual original video. Most of her reactions are pretty much one-to-one just the video itself. Like, on outside of very rare occasions, I have never seen her reaction videos go much longer than the video. It'll be like a minute or two after the video itself is done, and her reaction ends. She only pauses occasionally. She gives very brief fucking statements on her own personal beliefs on something, or pointing something out, or bringing something up. But if you're watching a Smug-Alana reaction video, you may as well be watching the original video, is what I'm saying. It is as close as you're going to get, I think, to watching the original video without actually watching the original video. If that makes any fucking sense. But I've really come to enjoy that. And it's another thing, I really actually do enjoy Alicia's stuff. Even when she pauses to go on long diatribes, the thing is, as far as I'm aware at least, Alicia is a psych major. And she'll pause to go on 20, 30-minute rants about psychology stuff. And I actually find that fascinating. I think what it is I like hearing people talk about stuff that they actually know what they're fucking talking about. Stuff that they've actually studied and that they actually are, in a way, an authority on. I guess I like hearing that kind of stuff. What I don't like is usually hearing armchair people try to psychoanalyze, hyperanalyze shit. I've seen these people, some of these channels, and they'll get hundreds of thousands of views. It's like, who watches this? I mean, to more power to you, to each their own, but yeah. Anyway, I'm so sorry for the tangent. Report the show, don't become the show. That's the phrase of the day, the phrase of the month, really. Now, I was lucky enough. I don't really keep much of an archive of Reem Evans Star. Part of me wants to, but part of me feels like that would clog up the hard drive a bit too much. Maybe I should at most, I think I would go as far as downloading and re-uploading her stuff to my online archive, which it's not private. If you know where it is, you know where it is. If you know what it is, you know what it is. But I don't really advertise it. It's not private it's not private. It's accessible if you know where to look. But I mostly do it for myself, and if anyone comes across it and they like having an archive for certain, they find out like, oh, I like one of these YouTubers. I like that there's an archive of them on here. Yeah, so I might do that. Fuck it. But for Muujin, I actually try to keep it in the offline storage as well a bit, because Muujin's only really only started doing this stuff in the last few years, covering drama in the VTubing and streaming spheres. I had to go find a fucking mirror. In fact, I fucked up. Because again, I was so addicted to OP2, by the way. I just didn't care enough to actually do it. When it would take me only a few clicks, I was just super lazy about it. I fucked up. I don't have his apology video. Now, I could easily go out and get a reaction to his apology video, easily, and it would have the apology video in it. But I have not found a mirror yet for his apology video. I found a mirror for his Sukuna video that I added to the collection. It is just a straight one-to-one re-upload of the Sukuna video that someone else made. So I'm thankful for that. I want to pause for a moment to say this. By the way, I've seen some of the reactions to this over the course of this month, and I've seen some people that were like, "Oh man, Muujin's been falling off hard for months for me. A lot of his videos have had very poor misinformation, very large misinformation, yada yada. My personal belief, no, my personal belief is I have personally considered all Muji's videos up until the latest one a fucking banger. Up until the Sukuna video, a solid video. In fact, to bring one particular video up, with his video on Uma Musume, Mujin even proved that he doesn't have to cover drama. He can easily cover other topics and apparently do plenty of research on them. So that's nice to know. Rima actually apparently has been doing the same thing. I fucking adore it. Rima's not going to come up much in this one. She just happens to be one of the content creators I like watching, but is the only reason I even brought her name up to begin with here. But I just want to say this: I fucking adored her Gigi Murin video, and I think I remember her saying something along the lines of she doesn't want to really cover drama all the time anymore. She wants to actually do other kinds of conference videos, and yeah, more power to you. Covering drama and covering tragic shit all the time can be stressful. I've even seen one of the horror spooky tubers that I really like, the Maverick Files, I think, actually stopped. Basically left her channel up publicly, but discontinued doing anything with it because they straight up were getting tired of covering tragedies as their content, which is understandable. It's completely understandable. Now, getting back on track, Mujin released this Sukuna video. I want to say this up front. I listened to it first, and I do mean listen. I usually when it comes to Mujin, Rima, Alicia, Smug Alana, more recently there's a YouTuber called Rev Says Des, who I've been getting into. Usually when it comes to these people, half the time at least, if not most of the time, I'm not really watching the videos, I'm listening to them. Oftentimes I'm doing this late at night when I'm busy. And so one evening I look at my phone and I notice, Mujin uploaded a new video just earlier today. In fact, I should watch it. So that night I put it on my phone and got right back to what I was doing. Listened to it, and my honest thoughts, even well before any bias got to me, any outside opinion got to me, my honest personal thoughts. There were 3 things in this video that rubbed me the wrong way, and I have never, and again, up until this point, I never felt like this about a Mujin video. Just right off the rip, my raw reaction. I never felt like this about a Mujin video before. So the first thing was that Mujin straight up says in the early into the video that he is close in a sense to the source of the Google document on Sukuna. I'd like to say this up front, and you can absolutely not believe me. I don't care. I have never. Well, no, that might be a lie. I probably just don't remember him. Maybe I've heard of Sukuna in passing. Who knows? I did not know who Sukuna was until the Mujin video. I knew nothing about this fucking guy. Everything I learned initially was through the video, and then through looking into stuff afterwards on my own, and through other people's reactions to the Mujin video. So I went into this completely blind, knowing nothing. Now the first thing that rubbed me the wrong way was Mujin admitted early in the video he was close to the source of the information because they reached out to him to make the video, something like that, yada yada. And he straight up says in his video, to paraphrase it, something like, I'm glad to be the first one to be breaking. I'm like glad or thankful or something like that to be the first one to break this news. And when he said this, my immediate thought in my head was, bro, you literally covered a video. You literally covered somebody a while back in a video that did this exact same thing, and it blew up in their face massively. And it took me a while to remember who that was, but I hate when I can't remember something. I start obsessing over it. After a while, I finally remembered. Yeah, Catliente. And what it was some shitbird artist who was completely lazy and not dedicated, and like shit. I don't know if I'm gonna go as far as to say actually no, I will go as far as to say a scammer, because they basically tried to charge Dokibird. They were commissioned by Dokibird, the VTuber, for something, and for this computer, I think a computer case design for a contest, for an auction contest thing. And they basically did very little work over the course of, I think, like a fucking entire year on this one project, and then tried to persistently increase the amount of money they were charging Dokibird for time and work when they had very little to show for it. I'll say it. That's outright scamming. That is pretty much outright. That's not just being lazy and not dedicated to what is essentially your livelihood or one of your livelihoods. That is outright trying to scam somebody, in my opinion. And Dokibird basically cut them off. Dokibird and her management basically cut them off. When it moved on to a different artist or doing something else. So this artist felt kind of jilted and annoyed that they didn't get what they wanted. So they ran to this popular streamer, Catliente, who, until the Mujin video on Catliente, I never heard of this woman, and I don't need to know anything more about this woman. And this isn't even bias on, like, the part of, I learned about her through the Mujin video, so I don't need to know more. Mujin literally put clips of her covering the Dokibird shit with this for this artist in the video he did on her. And all I needed to do was to hear this woman speak for about 5 minutes to understand everything I needed to about her, to know, no, this is a piece of shit person. I don't want anything. I don't need to know anything more about her. I don't want to know anything more about her. She literally comes in. So the artist reached out to Catliente, aka Cat in Chat, and she comes in on her stream reporting on the whole Dokibird artist controversy thing, and she is all getting happy. Hey guys, I got piping hot tea, the freshest, hottest tea, and I'm an old man. I'm gonna have to assume tea is some new age slang for drama. She was so enthusiastic to come in all swinging all. I got new drama for all you fans of mine. I got the freshest drama. We're just taking the lid off this for the first time ever. I'm the first one reporting on this. She was so fucking happy. She was so fucking happy to be the first person reporting on this, because she had a direct pipeline to the source. And it blew up in her fucking face, because she was so unbelievably biased towards Dokibird. Now, my immediate gut reaction when Mujin said he was close to the source by virtue of them reaching out to him, and he was the first one to break this news and cover this shit, my reaction was, bro, you do not want to be doing this. That sounds like a bad idea to me. That sounds like it has potential to blow up in your face. You've literally covered, as recently as in the last few to several months, you've literally covered someone who did this exact thing you're doing right now, who's in this exact position. and it fucking blew up in their face. I don't know, man. The second thing, and I actually, when I downloaded the Mirror, I found the Mirror a few days ago, and I downloaded it, and I listened to it while just kind of doing my own thing gaming, just to make sure I remembered everything correctly about the stuff I'm about to get into. And sure enough, I did not misremember. Yes, he straight up refers to Sakuto as a predator early in the video. That was the second thing that rubbed me the wrong way when I first saw this video. Because my immediate reaction to that, I thought that was like a sexual predator. Like, what are we talking? Are you just like I'm an intelligent enough person. I would like to think I'm an intelligent enough person to understand these kinds of things. And my immediate thought was, so are you saying he's a sexual predator, or are you saying like he's a predator in a more like he's in a sense more like he's preying on people in positions that are beneath him that allow him to prey on them? Like, is that the kind of thing you're going for here? Because I can kind of get that, but at face value, most people are going to see the word, and even I understand this, most people are going to see the word predator, and they're going to think, sexual predator, child predator? And I even asked a friend of mine, completely normal guy, average Joe dude, just likes his hobbies, and like, so, what do you think, I asked this friend of mine, what do you think, if I refer to another human being by the word predator to you, well, what's the first thing you think? He just turns to like, what, like a sexual predator? And I gave him the context, like, no, like, someone who's preying on people beneath him in a way, like, somebody, and I explained to him, like, somebody referred to somebody by this word, but they said they're using the dictionary definition. He starts shouting at me, motherfucker, no one uses the dictionary definition of predator these days. And I saw a few different reactions, some of which I didn't pay full attention to. I will admit, so I'm not going to bring those up. But I saw Alicia's reaction. I saw Smugglana's reaction. The one I'll mention is I think I tried to listen to Deme's reaction, but I legit don't remember much about Deme's reaction. I might have to listen to that again. I almost forgot about this one. I started watching Annie Pants, another reaction YouTuber. I do like Annie Pants a lot. Watching, listening to, it's all the same to me. But I listened to Annie Pants' reaction. I think so. Those are the main three: Alicia, Annie Pants, and Smugglana that I can really, really draw from that I saw recently over the last few months. Over the last month, I meant to say. Brain, please, words. So now I mentioned Alicia being a psych major for this reason. When I saw Alicia's reaction, she was had some very particular opinions that I thought were kind of interesting. And one of these was that she also was like, oh no, yeah, it could be like, the dictionary definition of predator. It could be like prey on somebody, beneath him. But then she went on to say something like, I think a lot of people are going to misunderstand and treat it as sexual predator. And I don't think it's really a lack of understanding. I think it's just that, like, literally what my friend said to me, he pretty much yelled at me when he heard me say that shit. Because he thought it was so unbelievably ridiculous. I think it really is that most people these days, they don't actually use the dictionary definition of predator. Unless they're referring to, like, a fucking animal. Like, a predator preying on the tiger, preying on the weak cantaloupe, or some bullshit like that. Like, in terms of human beings, though, people don't use the dictionary definition of predator these days. They use the legal connotation of it, the legal definition of it, which is like, at worst, it's child predator, which means if you end up in prison and people find out you are one, actual murderers and rapists are going to want to kill you. You are the lowest on the totem pole, buddy. You are done. And at best, it means sexual predator, which means that you have actually committed, by legal definition, sexual crimes. Now, everything I've learned about Sukuna over this last month, since finding out he exists, has taught me a lot. He is a manipulator, he is a creep, he is a womanizer, he is a playboy, he is a liar, he is a cheater, but not that he is a sexual criminal. So that was a bit weird. To see anybody defend it felt a bit weird. But again, Alicia, Psych Major stuff. I'm just bringing it up to kind of playing devil's advocate in a way. It's like the only example I have. Alicia's literally the only example I have of somebody that I saw the react to this who had a differing opinion, and was basically all in on Mujin for this one. On this one, everyone else, including actual women, were reacting to this in a very like thinking this was very weird. But yes, the dictionary definition of predator, yeah, and this was something I think he would go on to say multiple times that he was using the dictionary definition of predator. There's one thing I want to talk about in a bit that wasn't in the original video, was in the apology follow-up, but we'll get to that. It's just something I think is kind of bullshit, even for Mujin. The third thing happened way later in the video, and I gotta be right back. Now, the third thing was towards the end of the video. It was a phone call, a voice call, and once again, I'm going to be really fair here to the whole situation. All right? Sukuna initiated the call. Sukuna contacted the dropper of the Google Doc, Himamau. Himamau VT. And he contacted her, asked if she could talk. Mujin included this voice call, which I'm guessing was given to him by Himamau, and the video, in the Sukuna video did. Now, to give the brief summary of the Sukuna situation, he is a massive celebrity, a pretty boy millionaire, I believe. The pretty boy part is apparently evident. The millionaire part is the part I believe by. To my knowledge, he is basically a millionaire. Owns a house, has a girlfriend. All right. Now, I'm not going to say anything else. I want to get into the thing first. The third thing that weirded me out was the voice call. Now, the majority of the voice call was normal. To get the brief gist, Sukuna cheated on his girlfriend with multiple girls, one of which was Himamau VT. So he had a conversation with Himamau after everything went public, after the girlfriend knew. And for the majority of this voice call, everything was normal. It was pretty normal. Himamau was understandably pissed. She wasn't even just passive-aggressive. She was actively aggressive to Sukuna. She was bitchy to him. And she had every single right to be. She was livid. She was harping on him. She had a very catty voice, tone in her voice. And all of it was deserved and understandable. What weirded me out was the last 2-3 minutes of the voice call, where Sukuna stated he was probably never, and again, this is also why I re-listened to the video the other day, because I wanted to make sure I remembered this correctly, and my thinking back on it, because my memory is usually not that great. No, I did remember this correctly. In the last 2-3 minutes of the voice call, Sukuna tries to state and tries to tell Himamau he's gonna probably never talk to her again. Referring to Himoumo, that, which means he's gonna stick with his girlfriend. You can maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm being an armchair psychologist about this, but her reaction hit me in all the wrong ways. She starts laughing, and it's like, why? Why would you do that? You don't need to do that. You don't need like she starts laughing, and then immediately goes in, cuts him off, goes in. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. I'm willing to give you a chance to make up for me. You didn't cheat on me. And I think the best part is, and by the way, I gotta give props to Mugen. I gotta thank Mugen for this because he helped. He helped greatly because Sukuna is so soft spoken in this voice call. Mugen had subtitles. You can still kind of hear what he says, but the subtitles help. Sukuna audibly says "what" into the mic, like instant reaction. What? When she starts going in on him about this, like you don't have to stop talking to me. You can make it up to me. I'll give you a chance to make it up to me. I'll never forgive you for cheating on your girlfriend, but you didn't cheat on me. And he's like, what? Like in his to me that tells me like in his brain he's trying to process the logic behind this, behind like what would make her, behind like you didn't cheat on me, so I'm willing to give you a chance to make it up to me. And Sukuna is just very audibly fucking confused by this turn of events in the conversation. Now, she then goes on to insist that he doesn't have to stop talking to her, that he should keep in contact with her. That he can make it up to her. That they can still be friends. He then, she then insists to him that he should leave that I think this is like a literal quote. I think if I'm remembering this correctly now, she literally says to him, "You need to leave that poor girl alone." Like she starts trying to convince him that he needs to break up with the girlfriend so he doesn't hurt her anymore. Now, there are circumstances in which I think that would be a reasonable thing to say. Someone tells another person, like, dude, no, you should just break up with them if you're going to keep cheating on them like this. You're just going to keep hurting her. That's normally understandable. But when you're saying this shit, when you're including this shit alongside stuff like, no, you didn't cheat on me. We can be friends. I'm willing to let you make it up to me. And I think you should break up with her, though, so you don't hurt her anymore. When you're saying it alongside shit like that, you know, when you're mixing shit like that together, that really sends the wrong message to me. And then she continues with like, keep me updated on her. She doesn't ask him; she commands him. She is commanding him in this towards the end of this voice call. Keep me updated on how your girlfriend's doing. And a broken clock is right twice a day, and for whatever scumbag piece of shit Sukuna is, his response was correct. He rightfully tells her that it's basically not his place, that she doesn't need him to do that. And she starts insisting. And finally he's like, look, I'm not, he basically like finally gets to where he's like, look, I'm not gonna report on my girlfriend's condition to you. Where that's basically what he is saying. Like he's basically saying that, and you're free to contact her, but I'm not gonna report to you on my girlfriend's how she's doing. And she immediately again starts going and cutting off like that's fine. I'll contact her myself. Basically, I'm gonna go over your head. I'm gonna contact your girlfriend directly, and probably upset her even more in the process by doing so. To ask her how she's doing, or maybe not. Maybe I'm misunderstanding how that would work. To get an idea of how she's doing, but it all mixed together really rubbed me the wrong way. Basically, this did not sound like a woman who had her heart broken. This sounded like a woman who a scorned woman, and you know that saying, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned." And this is something women themselves will agree on. There are women out there. I've seen There are women that I've seen straight up say, "Oh no, yeah, you fuck with me, you getting hell and you getting fire and thunder and fury and hell shat all over you. I'm gonna fucking ruin you. I'm gonna destroy you. If you do me, if you cheat on me, I'm gonna wreck your life." I've seen women like this. This isn't a fantasy. I've seen women that agree with shit like this, that say, "Oh no, like not this specific situation, but this kind of shit in general," where it's like, "Oh no, yeah, if I find out my boyfriend cheating on me, I'm cutting his dick off." Unhinged to a degree, sure, but I've seen a lot of women that basically agree with this kind of sentiment of like, "You fucked with my heart. I'm not gonna be the poor damsel. I'm gonna ruin you. I'm not going to be the poor damsel in distress. I'm going to be the bitch." And I've seen women themselves say this kind of shit. I don't look at Hema Mal VT and see a heartbroken woman. I see a scorned, jilted woman. And that pause I just took was was because, again, don't trust my memory entirely. Had to reassess a few things, make absolutely sure I knew what I was about to say. And yeah, Hema Mal, if you go to her Hema Mal VT, if you go to her Twitter right now, and this is something that Muujin actually did. This is actually stuff straight from the video, by the way. Muujin actually talks about this. There were two chicks that Sukuna cheated on his girlfriend with in particular. Hema Mal and another one called Elphilia. And Muujin says in the video that both of these women actively post risque and erotic cosplays on their Twitter. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a purpose to me saying this stuff, but there's nothing wrong with that. If a woman wants to show off her body, that's her decision. A man wants to show off his body, that's his decision. But Muujin made a point, made sure to make a point in the video that Sukuna went with these two women in particular, probably among others, because that I'm not aware of. He focused mainly on Hema Mal and Elphilia, because they were posting their bodies and how good they looked publicly, and he was going for that. Look, there's nothing wrong with cosplays, by the way. Elig is probably one of my top favorite characters in Goddess of Victory Nikke, and I saw a chick that's like 1-to-1 Elig proportions doing Elig cosplay, and all I can say is, life fulfillment needs. I need her to sit on my face. Okay. Moving on. He very specifically targeted these women for this, though. Muujin made sure to make that a point. But in the process of this, Muujin also revealed something else. Hema Mal, I don't actually remember the number I saw on Twitter, but she has a huge amount of followers on Twitter. She has one of those, I guess, kind of like Linktree kind of pages. I think it's like something called like V-Card or some shit. I don't remember the name of it already. My mind's slipping on that one. But it's like a Linktree kind of thing where you go from her Twitter and it just has a link to all of her other shit. And I went to 3 particular pages. Her Twitch, where she has 2.1 thousand followers, but no recent uploads, no recent broadcasts. There's clips, but nothing that she's done recently, in terms of live streaming, from what I could see. Her Throne, where she has like 2 or 3 dozen different things listed that she wants, many of which are things like upwards to $100+ cosplay sets, or very expensive, or very expensive luxury items. At least expensive on my standards. I mean, I've been told by my friends that I have pretty fucked standards because I live in bumfuck nowhere. And then finally, her Patreon, and what's interesting to me, this is the interesting thing to me, her Patreon has more subscribers to it than she has followers on Twitch. 2.1k followers on Twitch, 2.6 thousand subscribers to her Patreon. And hey, she doesn't hide her numbers. I just looked at it. She makes $2,400 a month. Starting, I think it said like the starting tier is $12.50. I actually need to go back and double check because I saw people talking about how she has like a $600 tier or some weird bullshit. I didn't actually look for that, but that's beside the point. That doesn't matter to me. She makes $2,400 a month on Patreon showing off her body, visually selling her body for income. She regularly posts about her body on Twitter, and all of this is perfectly acceptable, and all of this is fine. I don't see anything. If it's how you get your bag, it's how you get your bag. And if you're proud of your body, show it off. I see nothing wrong with this. But this has a point. And that point is, I've always had this belief. I've held this belief for a long fucking time. And I'm so sorry to Alicia, but I want to bring Alicia back into this. Specifically because of her reaction to the Mujin video. And one of the things, paraphrasing, one of the things she said was that she was on the side of of not just the girlfriend, but the people that, I believe she said this, paraphrasing it, that it was something like, imagine, this is someone you watched when you were in high school, and now you get to date him, and you're starstruck. And Mujin even says in his video that ordinarily he asked Himamal about the age gap thing with her and Sukuna, and she said ordinarily she'd be weirded out and creeped out by it, but she made an exception for Sukuna. And again, yeah, because it's someone she watched when she was in high school. She's now an adult in her early 20s. She graduated. She's of legal age, and she's starstruck by this man, and yada yada. And in Alicia's reaction, she gave a lot of the benefit of the doubt on this. I have my own personal philosophy, and the reason I brought this up is a lot of what Alicia's reasoning was because she was still young and naive and didn't know what she was getting into, or some bullshit like that. She is a legal adult. She is out there in her early 20s, just entering adulthood, visually selling her body on Patreon. Making pretty decent money. Making enough money that she could, and I say this from the position I'm in, making decent money, and from the financial position I'm in, making decent enough money that she could afford to have a single place all to herself. A home all to herself. If she wanted to, probably. Unless if she doesn't already. I don't know, and I don't care. But point is, she's making really good money. She's out there visually selling her body. My philosophy is, if you, man or woman, sex doesn't matter here. If you are out there and you have an OnlyFans, a Fansly, a Not Safe for Work Patreon, any of that shit, and you are making income by visually selling your body. And I would like to point out also, I keep saying visually, and audibly might also be involved here because she literally straight up says in her Patreon that she also does ASMR. Now, I didn't look too deep into it. I don't know if she actually does ASMR content for money. If she does, that's another thing she's doing for money. But if you're out there doing any of this shit, man or woman, that means to me at least that you know what you're doing. You're mature and intelligent and responsible enough to know what you're doing. Because to me, the only other alternative is that you are a fucking moron that doesn't know what you're doing. And I don't know, do you want to be insulted like that? Because to me, I usually don't like going black and white on this kind of shit, but to me, there's no two ways about it. There's nothing but the two ways about it, I should say. you're doing this kind of shit. You're either mature and responsible and intelligent enough to know what you're doing, or you're naive and stupid. I think you would rather be called mature, responsible, and intelligent. I don't believe for a second, my point in all this is I don't believe for a second that this person, this Himo Mall person, was truly heartbroken. It doesn't help. It doesn't help that, you know that old saying, it takes two to tango? A lot of normal people would have probably thought that the relationship was moving a bit too fast, even if it was a millionaire playboy, millionaire pretty boy, whatever. Because they knew each other for 2 months. And this dude was already talking about moving her in, buying a pet together, yada yada yada, while keeping her at a bit of an arm's length to hide her from the girlfriend and hide the girlfriend from her. She was completely all for this. Without the knowledge that he had a girlfriend, yes. But she was completely all for rushing into this. I'm sorry, but you know what you're doing. You're intelligent enough to know what you're doing. So, I don't believe for a second this was like, oh, her heart's broken and she's coming at this from a place of anguish and confused rage and all this. No, she knows what she's doing. You know what else is interesting? I'm trying to cover all my bases to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. I almost said misremembering. That I'm not forgetting anything I really wanted to cover in this particular part of the rant. But you know what else is interesting? And I'm going to have to say the word apparently here, because I don't know for certain. But apparently the girlfriend released a statement alongside Sukuna public statement in response to everything going on. And in the girlfriend statement, she said, what is apparently the girlfriend statement, she says that one of the particular things that hit her hard about this was that no one reached out to and that there were people that reached out to her after the fact to see how she was doing, but in particular, the people directly involved. In this case, them primarily being Himo Mall and Mujin, did not contact her beforehand to see if she was okay with the dropping of the Google document on Himo Mall's part and the releasing of the video on Mujin's part. Nor did they contact her to see how she was feeling after the fact, as of the time of that statement. So yes, Himo Mall's whole thing about like I'm gonna go over your head and contact your girlfriend to see how she's doing anyway, she did not. Mujin clearly did not care enough to contact her to see how she was doing, and neither of them contacted the girlfriend to see if it was okay to release this to the public. And the girlfriend, again, if I remember correctly, in her statement, in her apparent statement, said that she did not want this to become a public spectacle. She wanted to handle this with her boyfriend personally. And honestly, yes, I think that is 100% correct. It is between the two of them. We're all human beings that are allowed to have our own opinions, and we can say anything we want. We're justified in that. We're allowed to have opinions, even if it makes us look like shitheads. I've seen all kinds of opinions. One type of opinion I've seen is there are people out there on shitholes I usually never visit, like Reddit, saying shit like, that girlfriend's a gold digger. That girlfriend is more concerned about this being public than the actual cheating, because she has her bag. She has Sukuna. She knows that she needs to stay with him. Yada 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 yada. Calling her a grifter and a gold digger and all this other bullshit. Those guys just make themselves look like asshats. I think money, not even considering the money, it's a reasonable thing. It's a normal and human thing to want to keep that kind of shit private, to not air out all the dirty laundry, and keep your personal life personal. And apparently, and here's the funny thing. In the end, this isn't really going to impact anyone all that greatly. Mujian's going to get a bit more scrutiny, sure. But he's going to continue trucking along like normal. I was asking, and I don't mind that. I'm still a fan of Muji. I really love Mujian's videos. I just think this one really dropped the ball. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure Mujin is probably getting more flack than Himamal is. If I had to really say, and I'm not going to absolve Mujin, I think he did a caliente. I think he wanted fresh drama. I think he wanted fresh drama to cover. I think he wanted to keep the videos pumping out. And the reason I think this is because of some of the things that he said on Twitter after the fact, defending himself. Saying shit like, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Saying shit like, I'm hoping this urges more victims to come out to share their stories. There was, I've been listening to, it was because of this whole controversy over the Sukuna video that I actually learned about Rev Says Desu, another YouTuber I started enjoying listening to. And I've been listening to his clips rather than his live streams lately. And his video clips on his YouTube. And to kind of quote something from one of those clips, something Rev said that made a lot of sense. Yeah, Mujin wanted to turn this into a series. Mujin, because he did this before with and not in a bad way, but like he's done multiple videos on the same general topic before. I think one particular being all of his stuff covering Niji Sanji, because that is just a nonstop fucking train wreck. But so it makes sense. Like, he wants to turn this into a series of videos. He wants to make this a multiple videos long controversy. But then Rev points something out. Everything you just did, Mujin, is going to actually make victims less likely to come forward. Something I also want to mention, a little bit offhandedly here, I mentioned something about the apology video earlier. In the apology video, which I still haven't found a mirror of, but you can find reactions to it, so you can easily find where he says this on YouTube. Mujin in his apology video straight up tries to say, I apologize for labeling him a predator and calling him that, but I checked it against 3 different dictionaries to make sure that I was using the word correctly. Even for Mujin, I'm sorry. I cannot give the benefit of the doubt on that one. I gotta call bullshit, motherfucker. No, you did not. You did not check the word predator against 3 entirely separate dictionaries. That is some massive cope and reactionary covering of your own ass. That is the kind of shit someone says when they get their hand caught when they get caught with their hand in the cookie jar. That is the kind of weird bullshit excuse they come up with. Like, just like I wouldn't expect most people these days to use the dictionary definition of predator, I wouldn't expect even someone like Mujin to go into 3 separate dictionaries to make sure they're using the word predator right. What I think it is was he wanted to drum up sensationalism by using a very, very strong word. And it kind of weirds me out, too, because I've said this earlier, and there was a point to me saying this earlier. With the Uma Musume video, Mujin has fucking proven. And I think I remember seeing people say that there was misinformation in that video, too. But I still think it was a really well put together video. Mujin has proven he can do non-drama stuff. I'm not saying he has to do non-drama stuff. If he wants to keep doing drama, that's his decision. It's his channel. It's his life. But what I'm trying to say is, if Mujin feels like he is stuck in this position where that's his bread and butter, and he has to regularly have drama to cover to keep that things trucking along, that's kind of his problem, if that's the way he thinks about it. And I'm sorry, but dude, I don't want you to become another Caliente. Or one of the many Catlientes that are out there that constantly need drama to cover. To keep things rolling. You're better than that. I believe you're better than that. What this all boils down to is Hime Mal found a guy. She found the bag. She found the bag. And she thought she could grab it. Turned out, not only did she not have a chance or lose her chance or whatever, but she never had that chance to begin with. Because he was already in a committed relationship and ended up apparently choosing the girlfriend over continuing to live the way he has. Apparently. We'll see how that goes. But and when they were and again a lot of, and again what I'm about to say was in the Mujin video on Sukuna. This dude sent her money. He flew her out to places, took her places to eat. Apparently, he bought her a gym jacket for her to show off on Twitter, wearing it. Literally, she put it on and made a tweet saying like the muscle mommy arc is real or some shit. What this all boils down to is she thought she had the set for life button right in front of her. And then she wasn't allowed to push it. And then she got mad that she wasn't allowed to push it. So she decided to break the console. I'm using a weird analogy here. I don't believe that she released this document to warn people. I believe she released this document at least partially out of spite. She didn't contact the girlfriend beforehand, apparently didn't contact her afterwards, didn't actually give a shit how the girlfriend felt in the end. And again, she's smart and intelligent enough to set up a not-so-work Patreon where she shows her body off for income and makes a lot of income doing it. I'm willing to, from what I can see, this entire situation has not actually impacted her all that much on a personal level. She is going to continue trucking along like nothing happened. And she's still going to make a decent amount of money doing what she does. The only difference is she didn't bag a millionaire pretty boy, I keep almost saying playboy, a millionaire pretty boy boyfriend / soon-to-be husband. That's the only thing that came out, the negative that really came out of this for her. She contacted a big content creator with a big audience, in this case Mujin, and he dropped a video alongside the Google document, going off the Google document, and unlike Catliente, I'm not going to say it was particularly biased. The only real biased things where I feel like he was a bit biased towards Hime Mal. I don't believe she was as much of a victim as she was portrayed as. And the whole Predator thing. Everything else, pretty solid. He was private messages were included. The voice call was included. Actual evidence and proof was included. So it was still a half good video. It's just, I think he really dropped the ball. But she reached out to him to make this more widely known. Again, didn't contact the girlfriend about it. Mujin didn't contact the girlfriend about it because he wanted his bag. He wanted to keep the truck going, the truck rolling along. Is my assumption. He thought he had a piping hot tea, so to speak. So that's how it went. And in the end, how did it go? Well, from a glance at least, this didn't impact Hime Mal that much. But it's definitely bringing a lot of scrutiny to Mujin. Report the show, don't become the show. Remember that phrase. I'm going to probably say it a couple more times in this. You don't want to become the show. Mujin became the show. Ended up defending himself on Twitter. Ended up making very weird particular statements. I'm going to say this real up front. And this is going to segue a bit into the next thing I want to talk about. But there's another person I never heard of that's involved in this. A VTuber named Powder. Now, the only real information I got in the beginning was when I saw Alicia's reaction to the Mujin video. She also looked at the Twitter thing. And to give context for this, Mujin did a video on, I think, at least 2 or 3 there was one main girl that was like the focus, I think, but overall it was covering like 2 or 3 different VTubers that were all genuine like grifters. Like, they tried to play it being this pure white race type shit or something like that, like racist girl failure type stuff. And then it turned out like one of them's fucking a black dude, the other one's Pakistani. None of this is actually what they're portraying themselves as, and this caused their the parasocial audience that they cultivated to turn on them, because like, oh my god, my queen is not actually a white queen who cares about the white race, and some weird bullshit like that. I just want to give context, because he has done a video on people actually like this. Alicia, in her reaction video, got to the point where she was looking at the Mujin tweets, specifically him responding to Powder. And again, I had no context who Powder was. Never heard of her. Alicia starts going off, like fuck this bitch, absolutely fuck that bitch, slay her, Mujin, cook her, and I'm just like, who is this? So I felt the need to look into it, because Mujin's tweet was very off the cuff, telling her about how he's going to be doing a video in the future, you know, where it covering her, where it turns out she's dating a black man behind her white supremacist audience or some bullshit. I'm just like, that is such an off the fucking rip thing to say to somebody. I need context, so I actually did look into Powder a bit. Apparently a lot of people think she's a fucking racist piece of shit. I don't know how far I'd go on that front. What I will say is her audience is very fucking weird. I almost forgot to mention this. I mentioned that Alicia was giving the benefit of the doubt, devil's advocate thing. Other people like Smuggle on Annie Pants, they got to the part of the Mujin video with the voice call where, I remember this because of what I was about to say. I'm so sorry for the tangent. They got to the part of that voice call at the end where Himamal is like suddenly panicking in my opinion, and urging Sukuna that he doesn't have to cut her off and stop talking to her, and he can make it up to her. Outside of Alicia, I think everybody else I saw reacting to this, and in particular Smugglana and Annie Pants, actual women, by the way, were like, no, that's fucking weird, that's a weird thing for you to say, that kind of tells me that you're still attached to the relationship that you thought was there. And they also thought it was weird to rush into the relationship after only knowing him for like 2 months. It's like, yeah, these are normal takes. These are normal things to think. Well, the reason I remember that is because what I'm about to bring up. I watched a Powder stream, or rather, I listened to it while I was busy one evening. I wanted to expose myself to who this person was, who their audience was, get a feel for it, get an idea of it, you know? It was weird. There were people in the super chats and in the comment and in the live chat referring to her as their white queen, their white elf queen. Her voice sounds silky smooth like milk. Lots of white connotations, or just outright saying the word white. And then she gets a super chat that she reads off saying, Powder, give me a countdown. And she says, 1, 2, two. She's like, okay, 3, 2, 1, blast off. And then she had people in her comments saying, Powder, no, Powder, no. That was Chirikov instructions. He's beating his meat to you while you're streaming. Now, I'm pretty sure any of the people that I'm actually a fan of, I'm gonna go off. I'm go ahead and say I'm not a fan of Powder. Any of the people I'm actually a fan of, Alicia, Smugglana, Annie Pants, etc. If they had that happen to them, they found out that it's very likely one of their viewers that super chatted them is beating their meat and basically asked them to count them down with a super chat while they're streaming. I'm pretty sure any of these streamers would have found that creepy, disgusting, really fucking weird. Possibly even banned the person. They would possibly even ban the person. Powder just kind of laughs about it and is like, no, I didn't mean it like that. I'm not a lewd YouTuber, no. But she was laughing, she was giddy, she didn't seem particularly creeped out by the idea of it. I didn't listen to enough. I kind of tuned out and then just went to check something else out instead by a certain point because I felt like I heard enough, but I didn't really get enough info out of that to determine that Powder's racist. At least heavily racist, but I did get a lot of weird vibes, and her audience is definitely very fucking parasocial. It still weirds me out the way Mujin responded to her. I'm sorry. And then she got like another dude that I'm going to talk about in a bit here. Talking about her Nazi audience beating off to her or something. I don't know. I feel like there's something wrong with you when you have to. There's something like fundamentally. This again, personal opinion of mine. I think there's something fundamentally wrong with your brain when you feel it's socially acceptable to just go up to somebody. I don't care if it's in real life or on social media, and just start. I don't even know how else to put this. Sexually insulting them? Question mark? I think it's weird. I think there's something wrong with you if you think it's socially acceptable to do this to somebody. I don't think it's something that you should be like, yes, slay Mujin, get her. No, you're cooking, man. No, I don't. No, I think there's something fundamentally wrong with someone's brain when they think it's socially acceptable to go up to them and to just go up to them, rock up to them. Real life social media doesn't fucking matter to me. And just sexually insult them. On the subject of parasocial audiences, I'm willing to believe Hema Mall's audience is very parasocial. Nothing's really going to change about, like I said, about her. I'm hoping Mujin at least learns from this. Even if he didn't personally grow as a person from this, I'm hoping in the future he knows not to pull this kind of shit in his videos, because I do actually love his videos. This man and he took to Twitter. He took to Twitter he left that video up for a week, defending himself, insulting people, fucking. And then he revealed in his apology video that he was being told by people to wait a week and see if it blew over, and he was considering doing that. And I'm like, buddy, you didn't consider doing that. You actually did. It's been a week. You left that video up for a week while defending yourself actively on Twitter and shit. And only after a week of people not letting up on you about it did you finally delete the video and make the apology. And what's worse, you straight up announced in the apology video itself that you're taking the apology video down in a week. And you did. And what? Now people aren't going to have context. If new Mujin fans come out, crop up watching your channel, they're not going to have the context. And then they're probably going to get skewed fucking opinions from fans and people that are diehard defenders. It's just... It's just so weird. There is just something about this kind of stuff. You know what I like? I like Rev Says Desu. Why do I like Rev Says Desu? Well, from what I've seen of Rev so far, he reports the show. He doesn't become the show. He reports on drama. He reports on things that happen. He shows off tweets. He shows off video clips. He talks about it. But he doesn't actively get involved. He doesn't actively get involved on a... like, he has personal opinions on it, yes. Yes, but he doesn't get involved on a personal level. I think where Mujin really fucked up the most wasn't including the last few minutes of that voice call. It wasn't even the inclusion of the word predator. I think where Mujin fucked up royally was that first thing I had a problem with. He was reached out to by somebody that had a clear vendetta against the person in question. No matter how justified it may be, and they wanted to use Mujin, in my personal opinion, they wanted to use Mujin like a tool to help them with their vendetta. And he fell for it. And he's getting more flack than she is. He's getting more of the flack than she is as a result. Again, not absolving Mujin. Fuck no. He fucked up with this. It was his choice to do this. That is on him. But I think that is the biggest part where he fucked up, was getting involved in this from the angle he did in the first place. I will say this, he said in his apology video he's never going to do something like this again. He's never going to label somebody a predator nonchalantly when they are not a sexual predator, child predator. He's never going to, if somebody reaches out to him saying that they have stuff he wants to cover, that they want him to cover first and foremost, he's never doing that again. I think that's for the best. My man Mujin, you got to report the show. Don't become the show. Let's move on to the next topic. Kyle.
Oh, my nose. I was sick for, I don't even know, a day recently. It was like a stomach bug. God, that was not fun. So, Kyle. Well, there's a reason I'm bringing this person up. I don't know who they are, really. I found out about them through Rev Says Desu. Through Rev Says Desu. Is it? Rev Says Desu. I want to make something clear. Usually my roundup rants have a point. They cover a topic or whatever. This one's kind of covering a topic, but also covering just the shit I've seen in the past month from under my rock. Maybe it's a good maybe it's an interesting perspective to maybe it's an I just feel like maybe it's an interesting perspective, you know, to get something from somebody that really doesn't interact with these people. I barely know anything about Hassan Piker. I barely know who Hassan Piker is, for example. I know a bit. I've heard his name in passing, but I don't give a shit enough to know much about him other than he's some grifting rich guy who apparently pretends he's a communist. And gives too much of a shit about stuff happening in other countries. But, Kyle, so this kind of still goes hand in hand with the whole making things a public spectacle topic. I never understood this. The whole point of everything I've said so far is because that's what Mujin did. He made a public spectacle. And Himemall assisted him in doing so. Out of the Sukuna thing, when the girlfriend would have rather handled it privately. And then inserted himself into it on a bit more of a personal level, got a bit personally involved, and made himself part of the show instead of just reporting the show, like I've been saying. A lot of people seem to... Well, there's apparently a lot of people that seem to just... And I don't go on Twitter often. When I go on Twitter, I got an account that I don't exactly advertise. And I go on Twitter, when and post on this account, usually to briefly describe a game I just recently beat, and give just like the Twitter length proportion, a Twitter length proportion. Super brief summarization of my thoughts. I post using this account. I posted and replied to a couple of people that talked about video game related stuff, but ultimately, I usually just use this account to talk about the games that I've beaten. To kind of like an active, how do I say this? Kind of like an active update on what I've beaten, while I actually compile my full-length thoughts into my gaming experience of the given year. That's really all it is. And oh man, my nose. And so I don't really go on social media a lot. I usually stay off that shit for the most part. Even I've said this before, but even on Discord, I think I've said this before, but even on Discord, 90% of the servers I'm in are for video game updates, video game mod updates. I'm in a handful of personal servers with friends, some of which are very long-term friends of mine, and we use it for communicating with each other. I'm in the communities for certain individuals. Like I joined Smuggalana's Discord. I joined Alicia's Discord. You know, people I watch. And I promptly mute the server from so I don't get mentioned, so I don't get pings whenever they're pinging their audience that they're streaming, that they're live streaming. I usually catch VODs. I think I've said this before. I usually catch VODs. On my own time. I just figured, what the hell, might as well be part of the community. But I'm, part of the community, but not an active part. Point is, I'm usually under a rock on purpose. I don't really like going on social media all that much, because it's usually, whenever I do, it's always this, nowadays at least, especially, it's always this unhinged bullshit. People gotta make everything a public spectacle. And this Kyle individual's no different. Rev Says Desu covered this person. He's a male VTuber. Never heard of him before. Don't really care about him. But what I did care about enough that it interested me to a degree was the stuff Rev was covering. And the stuff Rev was covering was a marketplace that does merch deals with content creators called Uwu Market. Reached out to this VTuber, asking him if he wanted to. If I remember right, they emailed him. They personally, privately, messaged, emailed, whatever him, asking if he would like to sign up with them, do some merch deals and stuff. I believe it was an email or something along those lines. Now, all this Kyle fellow had to do was respond privately. What does he do? He takes to Twitter. Posting about it, posting a screenshot of them reaching out to him, and smearing them, saying stuff along the lines of, I don't want to associate with a company that supports grifters like, again, and again, this is where she's mentioned, Powder. if you and ending this little diatribe with, if you care about actual people in the future, you can come back to me, but I'll do fine on my own. I don't even care about what he said. I didn't care about what he said. He could have said all that in the DM. He could have shit-talked them in DMs. Who gives a fuck? He could have told them they're terrible people in the DM. And in the DM and the reply email, whatever the fuck. No, he had to take to Twitter and he had to put on full blast. The Ref Says Desu video covering this. Again, it's kind of like seeing the video clips from Catliente's stream on that one Mujin video where it's like, that's all I need to know. I don't need to know more. I'm literally seeing stuff straight from the horse's mouth. There's no bias involved here. I'm literally seeing and hearing what these people are like from themselves. Just shown to me by somebody else. Well, it was a similar case with this Kyle fellow when I was listening to the Rev Says Desu video, because I actually, and this is one of those cases where I actually decided, well, I can afford to pause for a moment and watch, or continue what I'm doing while looking at my phone. I was curious enough to see the screenshots that Rev was talking about. There were screenshots of Kyle's tweets. And this person came off as incredibly unhinged to me. They came off as these kinds of people that actually wish harm upon others. And you know the kinds of people I'm talking about. Like, if you think differently from them, especially on the political spectrum, they wish harm upon you. Which I think is personally fucked up. But what was interesting to me was the blue checkmark thing. Now I'm going to say this up front. It's your life, it's your money, it's your choice, it's how you spend it, it's fine. I'll tell you it's a fucking stupid. Maybe I don't know all the nuances of having a blue checkmark by your name on Twitter, of being verified on Twitter, okay? But I will tell you, I think it's fucking stupid if you spend $10 a month for that. But I'm not going to tell you not to do it, because it's your decision. It's your free will. I won't judge you for it, but that's about it. And not for any political reason or any hot take bullshit, but because I think it's just a waste of your money. I think that $10 could be better spent somewhere else. I think money could be spent better elsewhere, but I'm not going to knock on you for any other reason for having the blue check mark. I'm a very frugal person. That's the only reason I knock on you for the financial aspect of it. $10 is $10, okay? You spend it how you want it. I'll still judge it. There's a million things that could be better spent on, in my opinion. Maybe I don't know the nuances of all nuances and what's benefits. That's the word, benefits to having a blue check mark next to your name on your Twitter profile. But well, apparently a lot of people have a problem with this, and Kyle's one of them. I would go on to find out through this by osmosis of sorts that it's not just a thing with this Kyle fellow. But there's apparently a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of people on social media that think that will unironically thought, or still think maybe, that if you have a blue check mark by your name, you are supporting neo-Nazi white supremacist billionaire Elon Musk, and you are a terrible person, and they will. These people, like, some of these people apparently go to the length of wishing harm upon you for doing this. And it's like, bro, it's a fucking blue check mark next to a name on a social media platform that never even originally started with Elon Musk. Like, fuck.
I don't know if he introduced the verified thing or not, but I'm saying the platform itself didn't originate with them. But people, that's all people attribute this shit with. Like, well, some people at least, and this Kyle fellow was one of them. Was. But then he himself got a blue check mark. Why? Rules for thee, but not for me. Saying I've heard a few times and seems to definitely apply to these people. But the point is, this apparently that this whole thing with Ooh Market wasn't his first rodeo. He apparently went after others. If I remember right, I think in the Rev Says Des video, I might be misremembering. Please don't sue me if I am. I think in one of the Rev Says Des videos, he covers that this Kyle fellow also went after GamerSupps at one point. Here's the interesting thing. He went after Ooh Market because Ooh Market has a business relationship with Powder. But then, I can also go off on a limb and say, yeah, but Ooh Market also has a business relationship with Annie Pants. They might have a business relationship with Smuglana and Alicia. I don't know that for sure. What I do know is I saw an Annie Pants video where she was outright advertising Ooh Market. I'm pretty sure I remember that one. A lot of these people also probably are also in business relationships with GamerSupps. Muujin is. Alicia, I'm pretty sure Alicia is. I think Powder is. I hate to be that guy when I say this, but it really is just business. Like it is literally a business. And for all of her reaction in that reaction video she did to the whole Sukuna situation, the Muujin Sukuna video Alicia did, and how much she very clearly hates Powder and the kind of person Powder is. I'm gonna go off on a limb and say that I'm fairly fucking certain for all of that, Alicia doesn't think, oh man, oh fuck Ooh Market. If she is in a relationship with Ooh Market, I'm pretty sure she doesn't just think on a regular, man, fuck Ooh Market for sponsoring Powder as well. Fucking supremacist assholes. No, it's a business. They're gonna reach out to VTubers. They're gonna reach out to people, to content creators. Ooh Market's gonna do that. GamerSupps is gonna do that. Other companies are gonna do that. They are literally businesses. That's what they're gonna do. I mean, these kinds of businesses, yeah, they'll cut somebody off if that person's too problematic for them. To go off on a little bit of a very small tangent, this is what happened with the fucking, what was his name? Kingsman, I think his name was Kingsman. The old Kingsman controversy with CC. CC, that CC person who was straight up a fucking bully to him, despite and a manipulator and all that shit, and kind of manipulator and all that shit, trying to get in his DMs and be like, you know, I want you to come out and help me. I want you to come out publicly and help me out here because I got people sending me hate mail. I got people in my Discord server hating on me, and it's like, no, you brought this upon yourself by being a shit person. But in this situation, there were sponsors, business partners and shit that cut her off because this controversy blew up, revealed things about her that looked very bad for them, and they're like, yeah, we don't want any part of this. That's the thing that happens. But apparently, at least in Powder's case, that didn't happen to a good enough extent for them to do this. At the end of the day, it is a business, and I feel like putting the business on blast and smearing them is kind of just over just having a business relationship with people like Powder is just kind of fucking stupid. Putting on blast to begin with publicly is fucking stupid. When, again, if I remember right, they reached out to him privately. It's all public spectacle. And then in the Rev Says Desu coverage of this, he would go on to talk about how this person would brag about their Twitter. You know, this Kyle guy, he brags about his Twitter engagements, brags about his numbers. Oh, fuck, I forgot about something. I actually did. This is so late. I forgot about this. There's one thing I want to specifically. It has to do with this kind of topic. I do want to say this. I'm gonna have to say this here. I'm gonna lose it again. There's one particular thing I gotta say about this whole shit with Muujin. In his apology video, he tries to say that he doesn't know how or why he got so big. And I'm just gonna say this right now. Motherfucker is lying. Because he knows how he got so big, and he covers it extensively in a stream he did, going over the history of his channel and all the videos he did. He literally did a stream where he looked at his channel and individually, one by one, went over the videos he did and the thought process behind a lot of them. Like where he was coming from, where his thought process was, you know, behind each of these individual videos. And it's like, you literally streamed your whole audience, you going over your channel and understanding how you got so big and talking about it during the stream. So you trying to come out now and say you don't know how or why you got so big is a fucking lie. You know how you got big. You know why you got big. I just want to make this very clear. That is a lie that Muujin is said in that apology video. And that Muujin himself has provided proof of that being a lie. Also, him bragging about his numbers on Twitter before making the apology video and taking the Sukuna video down. This is shit I understand. Between that and the Kyle thing, like bragging about your Twitter engagement, bragging about your views counts. I've never understood people like this. I've never. It's like there are two other like examples now that are popping up in the back storage spaces of my brain. That one chick that is like secretly dating Hassan Piker is apparently already like a millionaire, but she wants to keep the numbers going. She wants to keep the engagement up, so she's got to keep the image that she's single and doesn't want a family still going, or some bullshit. And then there was Muujin covered this, and Remo as well covered this in videos they've done. What was this one guy's name? What was this fucker's name? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. This dude who literally became, I think his handle started with an M. This dude who literally became like such a sensational fucking streamer that he became a millionaire, or that he got like hundreds of thousands of dollars. He could live comfortably the rest of his life, but he was still obsessed over his view count, his live view count, his numbers. I'm sorry for the side tangent, but I will never understand any of these people that are they're so obsessed with it. They gotta either obsess with it or brag about it or both. They gotta lord it over other people. I'm a bigger content creator than you. I got a bigger audience than you. I don't give a shit. I think it's weird to obsess over it. I do the shit I do as a hobby. I've said this so many times. I do the shit I do as a hobby. In fact, I actually left a comment on my YouTube channel. Through my YouTube channel, I left a comment on a Rev Says Desu video recently. Very recently, where I straight up said that I basically talked about how I do what I do just for the hell of it. And I think it was talking about Twitch being a garbage platform. How I will never go to Twitch. I would never go to Twitch. And even making it even to drive the point home, I said in this comment, like, even if my YouTube got deleted entirely, I would just find some other platform to go to. Fuck it. Let's go to Odyssey. Let's go to Odyssey or some shit if that's still alive and kicking. Let's go to Odyssey or somewhere else. Fucking what was that one? What was that one that's like It's like this really old. Oh god, I can't remember the name of it. It's like this really old website. I need to ask my friends about this because they would probably remember and be able to tell me. It's like this really old fucking website. I remember one of my friends cracked a joke about it when I talked about it. Like, what do you do? I can't believe he's just gonna go to that website, that fossil dinosaur of a website, and start uploading his videos to it. Yeah, fuck it. Why not? I'm not gonna go to Twitch. That's for certain. My point making is, even recently I've talked about this. It's just a hobby. If my YouTube, it's not something I do for a living. It's not something I aspire to do for a living. It's not something I'm even trying to do for a living. You wouldn't believe how many of my Stalker and Chill OP 2.2 videos are up on YouTube, and they're viewable worldwide. There's not a single thing keeping them from being viewable in any region. And when a video, and on the rare occasion one of these incidents happens, I use the YouTube thing to like remove just the music audio in the video and keep all the other audio. It happens rarely, but you wouldn't believe how many of these videos still have copyright if I go to my channel content next to them. And it's like, this isn't impacting anything. Everyone can still view your video. It doesn't restrict it in any region of the world. That's all I care about is if it's being restricted from being viewable in any given region of the world. But I'm pretty sure just having the even if it's just this contains copyrighted music, but the owner allows this content on YouTube, I'm fairly certain that would still, like, if I was monetized, would the amount of videos I have that on it would get me demonetized in a heartbeat. I don't know. It's just I have the gut feeling that would happen. I don't care. I do what I do as a hobby. My YouTube gets deleted or banned, I move somewhere else and do it and continue doing what I do. Anyway. I just never understood the whole obsession over numbers and engagement, especially more so with the Kyle thing. He's not obsessed over his view count, his audience size. No, he's obsessed with his Twitter engagement. Motherfucker, why? Why? Who obsesses over this? Well, apparently Kyle and others similar people. It's all about making it a public spectacle. And in his cover, Rev says Desu, in his coverage of Kyle, he starts showing off all of these just unhinged tweets Kyle's making. Saying crazy shit, saying nasty shit. And I mentioned that comment about towards Powder earlier about like, oh, you enjoy having your white supremacist audience beating off to you on the regular. Yeah, that shit was what Kyle said to her. Now, apparently, that might be true. From what I personally saw that and listened to, at least that might be true. That might actually be a true thing. I still don't see why you need to go to somebody on social media and, again, I don't know how else to put it, sexually insult them. Like it's a normal thing to do. You can call it banter, you can call it roasting, cooking them, whatever the fuck. I think that kind of shit in particular is a bit weird. And I'm the kind of person that doesn't shy away from calling somebody a retard if they're being stupid. If they're saying stupid shit. But I'm not going to go to them and say something really weirdly sexual to them. That kind of shit just comes off as so unhinged to me. There's another thing I want to talk about. Parasocial audience. That I don't get as well. I don't get it. I've already gone over this a little bit. Powder seems to have one. Hemo Mall definitely seems to have one. I'm sure Mujin has some people in his audience that are like that. Every major content creator seems to. They gather people around. They end up gathering people around them that that think like them, that agree with them, and that's kind of just how it happens, how it works. It's just. And the Mujin video I mentioned before that covered like at least 2 or 3 of these people that tried to garner parasocial audiences. I'm fucking sad. I gotta say this. I'm fucking sad that it turns out that what was her name? Ririgaki is just a fucking wannabe neo-Nazi poser trying to garner a parasocial audience. I'm fucking sad to find this shit out. Because the only real piece of her content I actually saw was the rap video, the one everyone saw. The one I still think is worth watching and is super fucking wholesome. And I think I subscribed her on YouTube, and I was like, it looks like she plays actual video games, because I mentioned this before. My big thing is I like seeing people play video games that particularly games that I've personally played and beaten, and I want to see other people play them and their reactions to them. I want to see what they think. Because I like seeing more people playing the games that I like. I like seeing it happen. I like seeing their reactions to these games and what they think. But no, instead I get like, oh, I'm a girl failure, I'm a stinky girl failure, I like people beating me, I like getting choked, I like getting insulted, I hate those filthy you-know-whats, white supremacy, it was just this sad shit. It was this sad shit, and I'm pretty sure she still has a niche. The other 1 or 2 people Mujin talked about in the video, they still have a niche. Parasocial. In fact, the fucked up thing is when I had to pause to check a couple things a bit ago. I happened to check Alicia's Discord. Alicia's Life, Alicia. I checked Alicia's Discord, and there's this channel in it, the V2, the streamer Drama Thunderdome or something like that. And someone happened to post about Ririgaki, and they were like, how is this chick even allowed to have a career in an audience? And I just responded the same thing I said here just now. I quoted the quote pinged them like 2 words: parasocial audience. And I don't get it. I'm sure a lot of the people that defend like Himamall and the whole Sukuna thing and act like she's a victim in it, and like more a victim than she really is in it. I'm sure a lot of them are people that stan her because I'm willing to bet quite a few of them are people who stan her because they beat their meat. Her posting. When I verified this shit for this video, as I'm fucking ranting, and paused to go verify some of this, I look at her Twitter. The first thing I see that she posted on the 28th of the month is her making a tweet about like, oh, this is my perfect comfort game on the Switch, and in the process, very clearly showing off her thighs, her belly, literally showing herself wearing panties. You can see the shape of her crotch, like a very purposeful thing. A lot of her audience are people that beat off to that shit. I'm sure a fair amount of her audience. Hell, like I said, she's got more people subscribing to her Patreon than she has following her on her Twitch channel. For fuck's sake. I'm sure there's a lot of parasocial shit going on there. And I refuse to believe she's not intelligent enough to understand and make use of that, take advantage of that. And I'm sure she does. I just never got it. I never got it, okay? I like making shit about video games. I like making videos showing off me playing video games that I like, especially niche stuff that niche video games I'm into. I like sharing my thoughts on video games. When I watch reactors like Alicia, I love it's like the Alicia. Finding Alicia awakens something in me. I no longer only want to see people reacting to video games I like seeing people reacting to movies and TV shows that I like. Hell, less than a month ago, I got together with friends. I've been talking to friends of mine about this for a while. There's a movie I highly recommend from the early 2000s, Phone Booth. It is a movie. I think I've always said this. When I say I think, I mean I think I've said this before in videos, but I don't remember, so I'm just gonna say it here. I love it when people make use of minimal stuff in movies. Movies that take place in for example, the first Cube movie, if I remember correctly, was them reusing the same square cube set over and over again. If I'm wrong about that, then it was still pretty minimal. It was like a set of cubes they were using, and that was for its time that was a great movie. There's a movie called Circle, which literally up until like the last 5 minutes to think of the movie takes place entirely in one room. There's another psychological thriller. What was it called again? The Review, The Exam, something like that takes place entirely in one room. I love it when movies make use of minimal shit, minimal space and minimal resources and minimal budget, but they still manage to deliver a stellar movie, and usually it's a psychological thriller kind of thing. And I was talking to friends quite a lot recently about Phone Booth, which is the same premise. It takes place dominantly in and around a phone booth in like New York or something. And it is a fantastic movie and one of my personal favorites. And I recently got some of them, a fellow friend of ours who also saw it and loved it. The two of us, we recently got like 2 or 3 of our other friends to sit down with us and watch Phone Booth with us. Everyone came away from that being like, that was fucking amazing. That was a great movie. And I loved that. I loved not just watching the movie, but seeing their reactions to it. Finding Alicia awakened in me this desire to see people reacting, not just to video games, but to media I like. And seeing what they think of it, what their opinions on it are. Not just after the fact, but even in real time. Which is the main reason why I fucking love Alicia's watch-alongs. I've lost the plot and I don't remember where I was going with this. Motherfucker. I think I was saying I like watching people play games I like. And I was disappointed. I was disappointed because I thought that would be what Ryugaki was. But, I don't know, I was talking about parasocial. Parasocial shit, yeah. Whatever the case, I just don't. I don't want an audience like that. I don't even really have an audience at all, and I don't care. I don't want an audience like that, even if it's for money. I'm a cheap guy. I'm a frugal guy. I manage my own shit. I don't need to have some big audience. I don't need to be a millionaire. I don't need to have a parasocial audience that I know will always support me. And I think people that need this or feel the need to have this are just weird. I'm sure some of these people out there, they want this. It's not just something that happened and they're rolling with it. I'm pretty sure they probably planned this. Apparently, some of these VTubers Mugen covered did. They planned it like they don't actually believe in the shit they're peddling. Speaking of, I mentioned Hassan Piker earlier. Nobody's gonna believe me when I say this, but up until recently, I never knew who Hassan Piker was. I have heard the name. I'm not gonna go that far. I've heard the fucking name. And when it would literally, I would say to friends of mine in Discord who bring him up, I'd be like, "Wait, isn't that like one of those Isn't it like one of those political activist YouTuber guys or some shit? Like, is that who he is? Because I've heard about him very loosely. I don't really know anything about him. I don't know the guy at all. What is it? Am I on the nail? Am I hitting the nail on the head? And I get my friend saying, "Oh yeah, that's what he is. He's one of those like fake political dudes." I'm like, "Oh, like he spouts a bunch of bullshit that he doesn't actually believe in." Got it. And apparently, yeah, that's the case. Now, only recently did I actually find out more than that about Hassan. There are two things. Mujin's video and other stuff covering him shocking his dog and having to make up constant fucking excuses for it. And this recent shit about Pragmata. Talk about that in a minute. But I want to say this up front because this is personal. This is something I said I wouldn't bring personal shit into this. This is very personal to me. Okay. I have my family and I. We have multiple pets. Most of these pets, we have had them for. Most of these pets we got roughly around the same time, and were around the same age. And we loved them. We loved them to death. About half a year to a year ago, we had to put down our oldest dog, who we've literally had probably for I would dare say about somewhere between 50 and 20 years now. Little girl could not walk anymore. She literally had trouble standing, let alone walking. She would live. We had this little cat tent that we repurposed to be her little hideaway hole away from the light because she liked being in the dark and in the later years of her life. And it was to the point where she was shitting and pissing on herself. It was getting to the point where towards the end of her life, she would have to bark to let us know she had to go out, and I would have to lift her and carry her outside, set her in the grass, and sit there and watch her, and she would get up as she could to go to the bathroom. And if I did not do it this way, she would just shit and piss on herself in this little tent she practically lived in. Had to start giving her food and water of her own in this little tent. We eventually put her down because she was not living a good life. She had a full life. She lived with us. She was not living a good life. Soon after that, we had to put down another dog of ours because he was about as old as she was, and he was starting to have trouble walking. And he was a big motherfucker. He was a huge dog, and like not fat. I mean, he was big. He was a big dog, and it got to the point. The day we put him down, he couldn't even get up into the car. I had to lift him, as big as he was, into the car. He was also, his legs were giving out. He wasn't able to move around very well. He was in constant whimpering pain. He was getting infections. We had to put him down. He was old and on his way out. We had to put a third dog down because she got diabetes and was in incredibly bad health 24/7. She was constantly suffering. And we didn't know what to do. As young as she was basically, it would have killed her. We had to keep giving her medicine, injection shots. We had to keep her well fed, and she was still so skin and bones. It was time. And I feel like every one of these instances weighed on me. A lot. Because just recently we had to put our fourth pet down. One of our cats. We have way too many pets. I'm going to be honest about that, but we try our best to take care of them. We had to put down one of our cats, and at first I felt it was unfair because I forgot just how long we had her. We've had this cat for probably 14 years now. 2-3 days ago, we brought her to a local place and had her gently put down. And they asked me, she had cancer. She had a very bad cancer in her body that was literally causing flesh decay in her face. There was a gaping hole in the left side of her mouth, around her jaw, that was leading directly into her mouth. So she had trouble retaining water, eating food. She was getting really skinny. It was eating away at her. We didn't know what it was at first, and we couldn't do anything about it. We didn't have the money to. We brought her to people that did it pro bono for us. They did it up front. They didn't charge us. And actual veterinarians too, and not like some back alley shit. And they looked into it like, she has a very malignant cancer in her body. There's no saving this. This is it. She had already lived a full life. We had her put down. I got in the car. They asked me if I wanted to stick around. They would do it right then if I wanted to. If I wanted to stick around for her last moments, I wanted to say yes. I wanted to say yes. I told them no. I got in the car. I started crying. I got home. I got home and the rest of my family left because they had stuff to do. I stood there all alone in solitude, and my face scrunched up. I started bawling my fucking... Oh God, I'm tearing up just talking about it. I started bawling my eyes out. And then for the rest of that day, there were like 3 or 4 other instances where I would just randomly start bursting out crying. The hardest I think I've cried in a long time. Harder than any of the individual times we put down any of the dogs. And I think it was just weighing on me. The whole thing was weighing on me. Because of how long, most of our pets, we got around the same time, in the same span of a few years, the same few-year time span. So we're just putting down animals left and right that are just, they've had a full life and they're getting to these points where they can't live well anymore, and it just weighs on me. And I think finally with that cat, it just broke me. So I see all this bullshit. I saw this bullshit about this man shocking his dog. I didn't even know anything about Hasan Piker at the time, other than he was some political activist motherfucker that I didn't give a shit about. All I know is I start seeing stuff floating around constantly. Can't escape it, even deep under my rock, about this man shocking his dog, and I think, that dog, get rid of it. Give that dog to a better home. Give that dog to someone that fucking loves it. I looked into it. I saw the Moochin video. I saw other people talking about it. This man using this dog as a fucking prop, insisting she sit there and not move for hours while this man streams. And then yelling at her because she moved an inch and then shocking her. I don't even care about anything else. I don't need to... I've said this multiple times in this, like, I don't need to know anything else about a given person. I don't need to know anything else. This is all I need to know about Hasan Piker. To know he's a piece of shit human being. And instead of feeling bad for the dog, instead of caring for the dog and giving a shit about this pet that he owns, that he's responsible for, that he's responsible for the livelihood of and the well-being of. Instead, he makes up excuse after excuse. I was reaching for, I don't even fucking know what he said, like a lozenge or some bullshit, a lozenge or an e-cig. I was reaching for something on my desk. Oh, well, it was a buzzer switch, but it was a shot, but it wasn't a shot collar. It was like a vibrating collar. Oh, but it wasn't actually, but, well, it was a shot collar. But look, we removed the prong things that actually deliver the shock to make it so that it only delivers a vibration instead. And then finally it was I think it was basically all but like 100% fully confirmed that even that was a lie, and it was a shot collar with the prongs still in, and he just kept trying to move the goalpost again and again and again. His friends kept trying to pile and defend him, and they just made it worse. I'm just sitting here, going like looking through this information out of curiosity, and I'm just disgusted. And then more recently, through Rev Says Desu, covering all this shit with the Pragmata stuff, which also weirds me out, by the way. I heard about, as a little aside, I heard about, not heard about. I usually watch video game showcase stuff with friends whenever they happen, and there's like a million of them now. There's got the Xbox Live Showcase, the PlayStation thing, Nintendo Direct, the PlayStation Direct, the Summer Games Fest and awards, or whatever the fuck. Well, whenever any of this stuff happens, usually if I'm available, I watch it with friends. If any of my friends are available, they'll tune in as well. We all just kind of watch together. If no one's available, or if too few people are available, we just catch each other up on it. It was during one of these like just sessions of watching this with friends when it was happening that I saw the first major trailer for Pragmata, and my immediate thought was, this game looks fucking rad. It's kind of, I hate this because I've never played Death Stranding, but it made me think, like, it's like Death Stranding, but instead of a fetus, you're carrying around a child, and you got to protect the child, and you're exploring this huge spaceship. Which is kind of like a less horror version of Dead Space, which I have played the shit out of that series. And I know all about that. So it's like Dead Space, or the new Prey game, not the old one, but the new one. You're like exploring a space station or whatever, and you and your little android child companion, like, it looked cool. It looked fucking cool. I really want to play it. I'm excited to eventually get around to playing it. And one night I'm doing my own thing. It was this month I got into Rev Says Desu. I discovered Rev Says Desu by sheer happenstance and checked out one or two of their videos. Was like, no, this dude's spitting. This dude knows what he's talking about. This is a married man, by the way. This is a married man, an average fucking Joe. That, as far as I can tell, that just has completely normal opinions, completely normal human opinions on things. Looking at the insanity on the internet and just putting on display, putting on blast and talking about it. Again, he's reporting on the show, not becoming the show. So I got into Rev. And there are people that are apparently calling Rev, like, there are people that hate on Rev calling, like, alt-right, neo-Nazi type shit. It's like, what do these words even mean anymore? Like, fuck, they've lost all meaning. They really have. I've heard people say this before. It's like, Nazi is no longer a word anymore that means an actual Nazi. It just means person I don't like. Or person who doesn't agree with me. That's basically the new definition now, because how warped it's become in its usage. But anyway, I noticed Rev. Anyway, one evening I'm like, let's cycle through my shit. What's Alicia doing? What's Alana doing? What's Annie Pence doing? Oh, hey, here's a Rev video I can tune into while I'm doing my thing.
And I'm like, wait, talk about Pragmata. Well, what's going on with Pragmata? I tune in, and while I'm busy doing my thing, if you were in front of me, present at in the moment, you would see me making faces. You would see me making the most incredulous faces that just kind of scream like, "What the fuck did I just hear?" Because now I'm hearing about people. People are coming out saying, "Oh, look at this child android with the bare feet. Look how sexualized this is. This is the ideal. This is the ideal specimen for child predators." And I'm standing there listening to this, making faces like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I think my favorite one was in a more recent video Rev did. A more recent video Rev did where one of the things he showcased, one of the tweets or posts or whatever the fuck he showcased in the video was somebody going out of their way. Somebody going so far out of their way, it was mental gymnastics tier shit, above even just the pedophilia stuff. Right? Where they were like, this is the perfect example of a white person, a white girl who exists to procreate and continue the white race and be bred. And I'm just like, huh? Where are you getting any of this? I haven't played the game yet, by the way, I'll admit that, but like, the trailers I've seen, the shit I've seen of this game, what little I've allowed to get through the media blackout shit I have on this in full force on this game, does not fucking portray anything like this. It does not portray the perfect specimen to continue to breed and continue the white race. It does not portray the ultimate target of child predators. It's all projection. It comes off as this creepy and disturbing and weird projection by these people. There's nothing sexual about this game from what I've seen. It's fucking weird to say these things unironically and unashamedly in public spaces. And maybe people have become so desensitized, because I just want to cut into myself and say this. I feel like a lot of these people wouldn't be saying this kind of shit in like a Starbucks or McDonald's. They wouldn't be out in the park saying this shit out loud. But they're saying this shit in what is basically the equivalent to this online, on Twitter, in public spaces, on the internet. And I feel like some of these people have forgotten that social media is so ingrained. Part of why I don't use it really, hardly at all. Social media is so fucking ingrained and connected to our real lives. And a lot of dumbasses on the internet purposefully connect it to their real lives on an extremely deep level. That you saying this shit on Twitter may as well be no different from you going out to a restaurant, a park, an arcade, whatever, a cafe, whatever, and saying this shit out loud and acting like it's normal to say. It's fucking not. It is not normal. That shit ain't normal. It's like I've literally had, like, I've had this kind of conversation with people where I say something and don't mean it in any racist way. Like, I literally say words, just words. Not even slurs, just words. And they're like, that could be construed as race, is you talking about black people. I'm like, I didn't think about black people at all. You're the one that brought that up. Why did you bring that up? It's the same shit.
It's the same shit. Nobody was thinking, this child android looks fuckable. You're the one talking about it and then acting like other people are and saying other people are thinking it, and that's a problem. But you're the one thinking it. You're the only ones thinking it. It's weird. I'm gonna cool down. This is just. Ooh. Okay. Going back to the whole dog thing for a bit, it made a lot more sense in hindsight to me more recently when I saw this shit. When I saw this shit in the videos Rev did, because this shit's how I find out Hassan's in a secret, not so secret relationship with another streamer who's like in her 30s. I think Hassan's like 35. She's in her 30s or something, and she went on live on like this is shit that Rev shows off, like actual video clips, again from the horse's mouth type shit. This chick going on the record saying, I don't plan to have kids, I don't want a family, I'm staying single and hot for as long as I can, and I'm going to play video games for as long as I can, and keep my audience going as long as I can. Again, this chick is apparently already a millionaire, and she's still obsessing over numbers. I'm going to say this up front. The age I am, at the age I'm at right now, if I was in any of their positions where I had millions of dollars, bro, you wouldn't see me. I wouldn't be putting myself out there. I would buy a house in a nice, secluded area. Give myself a home about a few miles out of the nearest town. Get myself a proper vehicle that is paid off to drive into town with. Get groceries, do my shopping, my month-to-month, get my month-to-month stuff I need, food and my hygiene products and all that shit, and live a quiet life. And I'd still upload shit to YouTube or whatever platform I'm on about video game stuff, but you wouldn't be seeing me putting myself out there concerned about my numbers, concerned about my audience, keeping the gravy train rolling, having an endless, infinite bottom line. I wouldn't give a shit. I'm already a millionaire. I already have a few $1 million in my pocket. I can literally just live comfortably for the rest of my life. Maybe set up something so if I have kids in the future, if I do, I'm in no hurry. And if I don't have kids, that's whatever. I'm not too hung up on it. But I don't think it's weird to want to have kids, for the record. But I'd probably set some stuff so if I have kids in the future, I leave behind something for them, so that they're good and get a nice jump start in their lives. This is the kind of shit I'd be concerned about. Not, I need to keep it going. I need to keep that... Oh, shit, I punched my headphones. I need to keep that bottom line going. But she does. It was through these videos Rev did that I find out that apparently they're in a secret, not so secret relationship, and they ain't fucking. She doesn't want to have kids. This is how I find out Hassan went to a brothel to pay for sex, and I don't know anything too much about Hassan, but just looking at the clips that Rev shows off of him and the stuff I saw from all the Kai controversy, I say this no homo. Hassan's not a bad looking dude. Apparently, from what I can tell, he's got a nice body. Women, I'm sure there are women out there that would love to hop on that dick. So why is he going to brothels to pay for sex? I don't understand that. Maybe I'm too much of an incel virgin loser. That's something that really weirded me. I mentioned before, like, and I think I mentioned a bit ago in this video. Is what I mean to say, like, just insulting people, Just you're throwing words around like Nazi and shit, right? I'm looking at the. I listen to the Rev videos. I look and watch some of them covered as Pragmata shit, and this man's brilliant, high IQ content is to just start rambling on. All what gets me is all these unfuckable virgin incel losers suddenly acting like they want to have a family. No, you should be concerned about if they change the recipe of your snacks and your sodas. That's what you should be concerned about if they do that. That's more understandable. You're fucking weird for wanting children. Huh? Huh? I think my favorite thing is Rev covered Shoonhead. And again, I don't know shit about Shoonhead. I know. Amazing. I don't know anything about this big internet personality. Right? I actually don't. I'm not kidding, by the way. I actually don't know anything other than her name is Shoonhead on the internet. What I know now is that she is married. She has a child. Apparently is married and has a child. And there are people in Hassan's audience and in his fan club, and again his very parasocial audience, because ain't just something women can do. Men can do it too. Men can have parasocial audiences too. I think you'd be fucking terrified to see what some of them are like. But some of his parasocial audience going after Shoonhead after she talked about the Pragmata and Hassan shit openly, talking about how she's being pulled around by the hair by her 12th Nazi boyfriend and is such a grifter. It's like, my brother in Christ, this is a married woman that has a child. I'm pretty sure if anyone should be an authority on the concept of wanting and or having children, it would be a married woman that has a child that she gave birth to, that she nurtured in her body for almost a year. What are you on about? And instead of even publicly acknowledging that she's married, these people are insisting it's her Nazi boyfriend that probably pulls her around by the hair. What the fuck? You're not even just misconstruing shit, you're just making shit up at this point. To the point that, and it's so ridiculous. This shit with Hassan, it's like, again, these are only two major things. The thing with the dog, with Kaya, and this bullshit that I've only been introduced to this information like the last month through people I like listening to in my downtime or when I'm busy and I'm busy and I can't do, my hands ain't free, I'm doing shit, so I'm gonna pop something on to listen to. And these are the two major things I fucking know about Hassan. And it's so weird to me. Both Hassan and his fan base don't have actual arguments to make. They don't have actual points they can make. And as pointed out by Rev himself in his own video, none of his parasocial fan base actually deconstructed or argued anything that Shoonhead had said. They just resorted to ad hominems and name-calling her. They just resorted to shitting on her and acting like children themselves. Calling her names, calling her bad words and mean things, and it's like, that's not an argument. That's you acting like a child. And again, in a public space on the internet. But a public space nonetheless. That may as well be you going to a cafe, restaurant, a park, whatever, and going like, man, I fucking hate Sean Head, that grifted Nazi bitch piece of shit. In the middle of an Arby's, like, sir, this is an Arby's. Just order your fucking food. You're taking what is the internet equivalent of this shit. You're going on a place like Twitter and bitching about this. But you have no points to actually make. Hassan doesn't have any points to... a man who is this apparently this loved by people, who is rich as fuck. People hang on to his every word, and I'm sitting there listening to the clips Rev's putting up on about him of his, and it's like he's not even making actual points in these clips. He's just saying shit. He's just saying words. It's a word salad. It's a slop word salad of insults towards people. He's not making himself look smart. He's making himself look like a jackass. Fuck. Okay, I had to like double check the last video. I had to leave. And I forgot what I was even gonna say. See, this is the kind of shit I'm talking about. It's a regular occurrence. It is a regular occurrence. Anyway. He's just saying shit, though. Insulting wide, not even margins, just wide amounts of people. You don't look intelligent. You look like a jackass when your intelligent discussions involve you blanket statement, insulting people, and then I find out that apparently he's like, oh, he's so concerned about like the war in the Middle East and massacres happening over there and yada yada yada, and he's pro-communism, and but then he lives in a mansion, drives around in a sports car, and wears and like has apparel that costs more than that probably costs more than I make in multiple months, and it's like, my brother in Christ, how are you fooling anyone? Like, that is an actual question. Like, there are like I said, he has a parasocial audience of his own. There are people that eat his shit up. They eat his shit up, even if it's obvious how good he has it, how nice he has it in his living, in his livelihood. And then he still starts comments bullshit. Here's an interesting thing I saw. Again, through Rev Says Desu, in some of the videos he covers. A lot of these Twitter accounts that he shows off, at least a good few of them have a fucking hammer and sickle in their bio. They're these performative communist LARPers that go like, communism good, but I guarantee you they don't actually fucking practice it. It's so weird to me. I guess all I have to say about this particular topic is, I'm a simple man. Late at night, if I'm not busy doing anything and I'm in front of my computer, I kick back and watch a movie. I play video games. I got an alarm set to remind me to go out for a walk late at night. I try to watch my health. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I barely drink. And when I do feel like it, I don't go out and get any expensive fancy shit. There's a gas station literally maybe a half an hour walk away from my house. And I'll go there at night. I'll go there late at night, pop in, buy one of them small mini bottles of alcohol that's high concentrated, high alcohol percentage. Mix that in with, there's a term for this. When I told a friend of mine I do this, he said that there's a term. He told me what the term for that is, and I don't remember what it is, but there's apparently a term for this. I take it home and I mix it with like a 2 liter of Coke. And I sip on that shit, and and the alcohol just kind of disperses through it. Or if I have a little bit more than 99 cents, I go and get a Four Loko at the same gas station. I come home, whatever the case. I come home, I drink, sip a little on it, watch a movie, play a game. Something I do every other, and I do this every other night. Every other night. When I say every other night, I mean what I actually mean is like maybe once a week I'll do this. Otherwise, it's just same shit but sober, but stone cold sober, and it's like I'm a simple man living a simple life. I don't need money. I don't a lot of money. I don't need fancy shit. I like having things. I do like having things. I do like having nice things that I like, that I'm interested in. I got a few things that I like over the last 4, 5, 6 months that that are on my shelf now, just for me. It's not something to show off to. It's not something I plan to show off to other people. It's just for me to enjoy. Got some books, got some other stuff. I'm a simple guy and I don't need a lot. Just wind down and relax and enjoy things. So I don't understand people that are so obsessed with having an endless bottom line, and then they got to grow their audience and they got to appeal these people, but then they got to go out and insult large amounts of people, and I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Like I said, if I made that kind of money at this age, at the age I'm at, I would be disappeared. I would disappear myself. I would move. I would find a nice rural place to live that's a couple miles out of the nearest town, still has good internet. I would chill. I would relax. I'd be set for life. I'd do my thing as what I do now as a hobby, but that's about it. Which is what I already do anyway. Nothing would really change about me. And also what would change is I would get a few more things that I like that would cost a lot more money to put on my shelf than what I can afford on the regular. That's it. That's it. None would really change about me. I wouldn't be obsessed about continuing it perpetually for as long as I live, having an endless bottom line of luxury. I just don't. I mean, it's a bit removed from the whole thing about Hassan as a person, but it's just a weird. It's a weird thing I've noticed. Like, some people are like that. It's never enough money, or the money isn't even the point. Like that one guy I mentioned, whose name I can't remember, that Mujin covered before, and God, I wish I could remember the name now, because it's like I said, this kind of shit bothers me when I can't remember it. But it's like that guy. You know, the money didn't even matter. He cared more about the views, the audience. And that was weird to me. That was fucking weird to me. To obsess over that more than the money. I find obsessing over the money to be weird when you already have plenty of money. But obsessing over the audience and your view count and your follower count more than your social engagement more than the money is even weirder. Overall, I just think that this guy, this Hassan Piker, is a sad existence. He has luxury. He has money. But he doesn't. He has fans that throw themselves at his feet. But he doesn't have love. Like, actual, genuine love. He doesn't have a family. Hell, the guy barely loves his dog. I don't think I trust this guy to be... This guy doesn't even really love his dog. I don't think I trust this guy to be the... what's the word I'm looking for here? There's a word, there's a term for it. Come on. Come on, my inner Columbo. Help me out. There's a word for it. My wife always says this and tells me it's... What the fuck is it? Authority. There we go. Took my brain a minute. The guy barely loves his dog. I don't really think he is think he should be considered an authority on having a family or not having a family. So when he barely cares about his fucking dog. So yeah, I think I'm willing to give. I'm willing to do what people what could be construed as projection here. Actually, I'm willing to do that. I personally believe Hassan wants a family. I personally believe somewhere deep down that man actually wants to be happy. That man wants a family. I believe that there's a part of Hassan Piker, deep down, buried under a lot of shit. A lot of rancid shit. That just wants to be a happy, normal, simple guy. But he can't. He can't allow it. Because he's got to keep up the image for as long as he can that he has sculpted himself into. He's got to keep up the appearance to his fans. And he's got to keep up this weird commie grift he does. When I'm sure Hassan Piker could easily just... And I'm not saying this is like... I don't really give a shit about the guy's politics, by the way. I want to put this up front. I'm saying this... I'm not giving a political opinion. I'm not giving any kind of controversial shit. This is a human opinion I'm giving. Okay? I don't really care about the guy. I got nothing against the guy. I'm just saying this is a personal belief of mine. This man could walk away. I'm sure this man could walk away. He could just fucking delete his YouTube, whatever other bullshit he has, walk away, take all his money with him, I'm taking my bag and I'm going home. Move somewhere else, live in obscurity, live a happy, normal life. Try to escape the whole Hassan Piker thing. Try to escape the whole image he's crafted. And he would, and he might succeed, and he would probably live a happy life. Who knows? Maybe he's happy in the position he's in. Like I said, this could be construed as projection. Maybe he's happy in the position he's in. I wouldn't know. I'm not Hassan Piker. I just know that I look at this man and I think he's a piece of shit, but he's also kind of a sad piece of shit. That I can't help but wonder, I feel like there's more to it. And I feel like maybe this man does want something a lot less and a lot simpler than what he has deep down. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'm just projecting my views onto this. As for the other thing, the whole Pragmata thing, oh no, that shit's gotten really fucking weird and out of hand. Like I've already mentioned it, people projecting their shit onto it, talking about the barefooted child, the perfect sexual icon for predators, and that one weird tweet's very specifically going super hard on how this little girl is the ideal white character that exists to like breed and, to paraphrase, I think this is what they said, like to breed and continue the white race. Like, where did you get any of that from, Pragmata? The fuck? And then it all culminates into, I find again something I found out through a Rev Says Desu video, a fucking game journalist website. And Lord, I would have, and I just want to hammer this nail right now completely down. I would have to get this shit from someone like Alana or Annie Pants or Alicia or Rev, because there's no way in fucking hell I am ever paying attention to a game journalist website. You can kiss my ass. I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but even as this wasn't like, this is something I've always been about. Even as a child, I would go to the store and I would read the game magazines without actually paying for them and then put them back. Even to the point that, but this apparently became a problem with many people, caused by many people, not just me, to the point that stores started plastic wrapping them. I would still take them out of the wrap and read them right there in the fucking aisle and then just put them back on the shelf. I don't care. I didn't care. And I would read these, and I would look at opinions on games and news about new game releases. But I never really gave a shit about game journalists, even as a child. So, of course, by now, no way in hell I give a shit about what a game journalist has to say, unless I know they're, I can't believe I'm saying this, unless I know they're one of the good ones. Unless I know for fucking sure they're one of the good ones. Well, I don't really care about what the gamer, as I believe they're called, has to say. But, apparently they, according to this, as shown in one of Prev's recent videos, they put out their own thing, taking tweets that were made by these projecting weirdos on Twitter out of context, and choosing to portray that this is just what the fan base of the game is like or something, and then expressly revealing that the person who wrote this article didn't actually play the game, and it's like, shut the fuck up then. You don't know what you're talking about. You didn't do any research. I'm just yapping on a YouTube video, and I'm acknowledging I haven't played the game yet. I'm keeping myself in the dark as much as possible about this game until I play it. But the shit I've seen, the shit that's made it through that blackout curtain I put up, are the opinions and comments of deranged weirdos, many of which I'm probably gonna have nothing to do with in the future. I would definitely have nothing to do with in the future, because that shit's just crazy. So again, report the show, don't become the show. And as far as this goes, I've just been reporting on just the weird shit I've been exposed to in the last month, just on the fly. I've allowed myself to be exposed to on here, and this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I live under a rock most of the time. I feel like if I was exposed to this shit 24/7, I would be insane. I think that does it for this one, though. I've taken up enough of your time. See you next month. See you in more future Stalker and Chill. And have a good one. Remember, if you haven't heard of any of the people I've been talking about, congratulations. You're living a good life, but you're living a pretty normal, insane life. Try to keep it that way. Trust me.